All right, let's kick off this deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at getting the word out about eco projects. It's like even the coolest sustainable project needs some marketing magic to really make it,
Right.
to really take off.
Absolutely.
So we're diving into Chapter 9 of Beyond Green, crafting eco projects with permaculture and strategic insight. And this chapter is all about marketing and communication.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So specifically, we're going to be talking about crafting your project's story, nailing those digital marketing and social media strategies,
Oh, yeah.
and engaging with the media
Yes.
like a pro. So are you ready?
Let's do it. It's really interesting how this chapter brings together that permaculture thinking with practical marketing tactics. Like, permaculture isn't just about designing sustainable systems,
Right.
out in nature.
Right.
It's also about designing sustainable systems for how you actually get your message out.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So first up, let's talk about crafting your project's story. I thought it was really insightful how they talk about going beyond, just shouting, "Hey, we're saving the planet."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about finding that unique angle, the core message
Totally.
that makes you stand out.
It's kind of like you have to find your project's superpower and then you weave a narrative
Oh, like that.
around that,
Okay.
right? So it's like, what problem are you solving? What makes you special? Why should people care? And then they bring in this idea of authentic voices, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it's not just stating facts and figures. It's about sharing the stories
Exactly.
of the people who are actually impacted by your project.
Exactly, yeah.
So say, for example, you're running a community garden, right?
Right, yeah.
Instead of saying, "Oh, we grew 10 tons of vegetables," tell me the story of a family who now has access to fresh food
Yes.
because of the garden.
Those personal stories make it so much more relatable, right? It adds that depth, the emotion, the credibility. It makes it memorable. And then, of course, the visuals, right? Using photos, videos, infographics.
Oh, yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
1,000 words, right?
Imagine like a before and after of a restored habitat.
Yes, exactly.
Boom, instant impact.
They talk a lot about tailoring your story for different audiences and platforms, too.
Oh, for sure. Like what works on social media is not going to work in a grant proposal.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to know who you're talking to. You're going to have a different approach
Yeah.
if you're talking to funders than if you are,
Absolutely. Talking to the general public.
like on social media, you might have a more casual, engaging type of tone, whereas
Yeah.
grant proposal, you got to be more formal,
Right.
data-driven.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's move into the world of digital marketing and social media strategies. This is all about creating a strong online presence,
Yes.
which is absolutely essential.
It is these days, for sure. The handbook starts off by talking about the importance of having a digital marketing plan.
So you need a roadmap.
Yeah, a roadmap. Setting clear goals, knowing who your target audience is, what are your key messages, and figuring out which digital platforms are going to be your heavy hitters.
Totally. And I think it starts with your website.
Oh, your website. Yeah.
That's ground zero, right?
It's got to be user-friendly.
It has to be user-friendly, visually appealing.
Yeah. I hate trying to navigate a clunky website,
Oh, it's the worst.
especially on my phone.
Oh my God, yeah.
Disaster.
Total turn off.
It is.
You want people to stay engaged, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, mobile optimized is super important.
Yeah. And then we dive into social media,
Yes, which is
finding the right platforms
right.
for your specific project and your audience. Like if you're targeting a younger generation,
TikTok, Instagram.
yeah, you're probably not going to go on LinkedIn.
Probably not, unless you're looking for like professional connections and thought leaders and stuff.
Right, exactly. It's about meeting your audience where they are.
Totally.
And then once you're on these platforms,
Yeah.
what kind of content
Yes.
are you creating? Behind the scenes, glimpses,
Oh yeah,
polls, maybe even like a live Q&A
love those.
with an expert.
Yeah.
Like be engaging.
Let's make it fun, make it a party,
Yeah, exactly.
get people to interact.
And then the handbook highlights content marketing.
Yes, content marketing.
Content marketing. So this is about becoming the go-to
Yeah.
resource for valuable information
Exactly.
in your space. So you could write blogs about, let's say, sustainable living tips. You could create infographics
Oh yeah.
about renewable energy.
Right.
Document your project's journey with a video.
Love that.
I mean, the possibilities are kind of
Endless, right?
endless, yeah.
It's really cool.
It's establishing you as a thought leader,
Right.
right? Building trust, providing value. And then there's email marketing.
Yes, good old email.
I love a good email newsletter.
Me too.
It's a great way to stay connected
Yeah.
with projects. get updates.
Yeah.
It's like a nice break from all the social media, right?
Totally. Keeps you in the loop without the noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's analytics.
Oh, yeah.
It's not enough to just put content out there. We need to know if it's resonating.
Oh, indeed.
Are people visiting our website? Are they engaging with our posts? Are they opening our emails?
Data is key.
Yes.
You know, it's about understanding what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Making adjustments.
You're like a digital detective.
Ooh. Searching for clues.
Yes.
Constantly optimizing your approach.
Marketing's an ongoing experiment.
It is. Okay, let's move on to engaging with the media and public relations.
Oh, yes.
This is where things can really take off.
It's true. Positive media coverage can really amplify your message, boost credibility, attract a whole new audience. But it takes a strategic approach. Absolutely. So you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
The handbook talks about a media strategy. Figuring out who you want to reach, what are your key messages, which outlets
Yes.
are most likely going to be interested.
Totally.
So if you're like a local community garden project, you might be targeting local newspapers, radio stations,
Yeah.
community blogs. But if you're working on some groundbreaking sustainable technology
Right.
that has global implications, you might set your sights a little.
Yeah, you
That'd
go
be-
bigger.
Yeah.
Think bigger.
It's all about knowing your audience
Yeah.
and tailoring that pitch.
You got to make it relevant to them, right?
Right. And then, of course, you need to be prepared
Yes,
to respond to
Exactly.
inquiries
absolutely. Quickly.
effectively.
Have a spokesperson ready. Talking points, press releases, super important. Media kits.
Oh, those media kits have to be like a journalist's dream come true. High-resolution images,
Yeah.
concise background information, contact details, everything.
Everything.
Make their job easy.
Yes.
Make their job easy, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also important to build relationships with journalists
Yes.
who are covering sustainability.
That personal connection goes a long way.
Yes.
It can make a huge difference in whether or not they pick up your story.
And I love how they recommend media training
Oh, yeah.
for spokespeople. Not everyone's a natural in front of a microphone.
Not everyone's comfortable with that,
No.
but a little bit of training can go a long way.
Yes.
So you feel confident, handling those interviews, press conferences, making sure your message is coming through.
Yeah, it's about being proactive,
Yes.
strategic,
Yes.
prepared.
Be ready to seize those opportunities when they come.
Amazing.
And then track what happens, right? You got to monitor the coverage.
Oh, for sure.
See what kind of impact you're having.
Yeah, you're like a media maestro
I love it.
conducting the orchestra
Yes.
of information. I find it really inspiring to see how much thought and strategy goes into marketing these
Yeah.
sustainable projects. It's not about
Yeah.
just slapping a green label on something.
Yeah.
You're telling a story that connects with people
Absolutely.
on an emotional level. You're
Yeah.
inspiring them to act.
That's what it's all about, right? It's about
Wow.
changing hearts and minds and ultimately creating a world where sustainability isn't just a buzzword.
Right.
It's a way of life.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, we're trying to shift from should do to want to when it comes to sustainability.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And you know what I thought was really interesting? The handbook doesn't just stop at getting the word out.
Mm-hmm.
They actually talk about measuring the impact of all your marketing efforts.
Yes.
It's not enough to just make noise. You have to make sure that noise is actually creating
Right.
real change.
Tangible change.
Tangible change, yes.
Yeah, they dedicate a whole section to these frameworks for impact measurement, which are basically tools that can help you to define your goals, track your progress, and assess the outcomes.
Okay.
They even talk about the UN's Sustainable Development Goals as a potential framework, which I thought was really
Oh, interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, aligning yourself with those
Yeah.
global goals.
Totally.
Yeah.
Gives it a bigger sense of purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And I think people are really responding to that these days. They want to know that their actions are actually contributing to something larger than themselves.
For sure. And speaking of actions, the handbook also talks about developing key performance indicators.
Ah, yes. KPIs.
Your measurable targets.
Okay.
The specific milestones that tell you if you're actually on track or not.
So it's not just warm, fuzzy feelings.
Right.
It's
It's about
concrete data.
data.
It's about data.
So instead of saying, oh, we increased awareness, you could say,
Right.
we reached 10,000 new people. Or website traffic increased by 50%.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. It's a lot more convincing to funders, partners, and even your own team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So the handbook talks about the data collection needing to be rigorous and reliable, right? You might use surveys, interviews, environmental monitoring, even your financial records.
We got to have the receipts.
You got to have the receipts, exactly. And they talk about getting stakeholders involved in the impact measurement process as well, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that might include community members, beneficiaries, even your own team.
Makes sense, yeah.
So making sure you're measuring the things that actually matter to the people you're serving.
Absolutely. And then you got to be able to communicate those results
Yes.
clearly and transparently.
Transparency is key, right? You want people to see the progress you're making,
Right.
you know, both the wins and the challenges.
Yeah.
They talk about creating reports, presentations, even interactive dashboards to share those findings with the world.
I like that. Transparency builds trust.
It does.
It also allows you to celebrate your successes and then get more people involved.
Totally.
And I love this idea of using that impact data to constantly improve what you're doing.
It's not just about patting yourself on the back for a job well done, right?
Right.
It's about taking those lessons learned and making your project even more effective and impactful moving forward.
So you're constantly like tweaking and refining
Yes.
your approach based on real world feedback.
Absolutely. It's a living, breathing organism.
Oh.
It's constantly adapting to its environment.
I love that analogy.
Right.
And it's that cycle, right, of plan, implement, measure, learn, improve.
Yeah.
It's at the heart
Yes.
of sustainable development.
Totally. It's that constant striving to do better.
That's what's so exciting about this field. You're never stagnant. There's always something new to learn,
Always.
a new challenge to tackle,
Yeah.
a new way to make a difference.
I love it.
It's like we're all part of this big experiment trying to figure out how to live in harmony with the planet and each other.
Right.
And while there's no like cookie cutter solution,
Yeah.
this handbook, I think, gives us some really amazing tools
It does.
to navigate the journey.
Yeah. It's like a toolkit for change makers.
I like that. And the best part is anyone can use it.
Exactly.
You don't need a fancy degree. You don't need a big budget.
Right.
You just need the passion,
Mm-hmm.
a good story,
Yes.
a willingness to roll up your sleeves
That's it.
and get to work.
Yeah.
This handbook reminds us that sustainability is not just about the grand gestures.
Right.
It's about the everyday choices we make,
Yeah.
the actions we take,
Yes.
the stories we tell.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
And even those small changes, when you multiply them by millions of people, can create a ripple effect that transforms the world.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Chapter 9 of Beyond Green.
It's been quite the tour.
It has. Of marketing and communication strategies for sustainable projects.
A lot to unpack.
But I have a feeling this conversation's just getting started.
I think you're right about that. What are some of the key takeaways that you're going to take with you from this chapter?
Well, I was really struck by, the emphasis on authentic storytelling.
Yeah.
Building those genuine connections with your audience. It's not just about like pushing information out. You're creating a dialogue
Exactly.
and a shared sense of purpose.
A shared sense of purpose, which ties back to that should do to want to, right?
Exactly.
People are so much more likely to embrace something when they feel inspired and connected to the cause.
Yes. And I thought the section on impact measurement was so valuable.
Yes.
It's about holding ourselves accountable for the change we're trying to create
Absolutely.
and showing the world that sustainability isn't just this feel-good concept.
Right.
It's a powerful force for positive change.
It's about turning those good intentions into tangible results and then using those results to fuel that continuous improvement.
It's a cycle of learning and growth that can lead to
Yeah.
incredible breakthroughs.
Yeah. It's inspiring, isn't it? To think that we have the power to create a more sustainable future, a future where people and planet thrive
Together. We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And it starts with each of us taking action, telling our stories, and inspiring others to join the movement.
And that's where the real magic happens. Yeah, it's really amazing to see how marketing can actually be like a force for good.
It's interesting how this chapter in Beyond Green, they don't shy away from the whole business side of things.
Yeah, they actually dedicate.
Which I think
it's a good chunk to developing a solid business model
important, right?
for your sustainable project.
Because if your project isn't financially viable, it's not going to be able to really achieve those environmental and social goals in the long run.
Right. You got to be able to sustain yourself. You got to be sustainable to be sustainable. So they talk about, finding that sweet spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have all those three pillars: economic, environmental, and social.
Yeah.
All in balance.
I like that.
And then they go into things like, value propositions, customer segments, revenue streams.
It's like a blueprint.
Yeah, like a blueprint.
For building a successful, sustainable enterprise. Yes.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really cool is that for sustainable projects, those revenue streams can be really creative.
Oh, totally.
It's not always just about selling a product.
Right, exactly.
You might do memberships, grants, donations,
Yeah.
crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding's huge.
You can even do innovative financing models like green bonds.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff happening in that space.
And I love how they highlight community engagement in the fundraising process.
Oh, for sure. Right.
It makes people feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah, that sense of ownership is huge.
It is. The handbook also offers some good advice on grant writing,
Oh, yeah, that can be a beast.
which can be
A whole
a little daunting.
Yeah.
They break it down into some manageable steps, though.
They do, yeah. They talk about, identifying the right opportunities, crafting compelling applications, even just building those relationships with potential funders.
Yeah, it's a long game.
It is a long game, yeah.
It's all about building that trust and showing them the impact
And telling a good story.
and telling a good story, convincing them that their investment is going to make a difference.
Absolutely. And then there's project management,
Oh, yes.
which the handbook also, can of worms,
They really emphasize the need for
flexibility.
flexibility and adaptability.
Yes, because things rarely go according to plan,
Never.
especially with sustainable projects, right?
Yeah. Got to be able to adjust your approach.
Yeah, you got to be able to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Use that feedback from your stakeholders. Be open to new information.
Yeah.
They talk about things like Agile and Scrum methodologies,
Like it.
which are all about that iterative progress and continuous improvement.
So you're constantly experimenting.
Yeah.
Learning.
Digging by doing.
Refining your approach.
Until you find what works.
Yeah.
And monitoring and evaluation, super important.
Very important.
Making sure you're tracking that progress.
Yeah.
Measuring your impact. Using that data to make informed decisions.
That data is so valuable.
It is.
It's about being accountable and transparent.
And always striving to do better.
Always striving to do better, yeah.
Which is a journey.
It is a journey. It's amazing to see how all these pieces fit together.
It is.
From that initial spark of an idea to, the actual implementation and then measuring the impact.
Like this tapestry, right?
Yeah.
It's all woven together with passion and innovation and that deep commitment to creating a better world.
It really makes you realize that sustainability isn't just a concept. It's a
movement.
A living, breathing movement.
Yeah, fueled by the collective efforts of, countless people and organizations all around the world.
And this handbook is like a guidebook.
It is.
For anybody who wants to be part of this movement.
Yeah.
It gives you the knowledge, the tools, the inspiration
Something you need.
to make your vision a reality.
Yeah, to turn that vision into a reality.
It's a good reminder that we all have a role to
We
play
do.
in creating that more sustainable future.
Yeah.
And even small actions, multiplied by millions,
Can have a huge impact.
can change the world.
It's true.
Well, this has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining us
This was fun.
as we explored sustainable project marketing and communication. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep making a difference.
See you next time.